Hello everybody, welcome to F1 Grandstand. I'm Tony Craig, and if you are an F1 fan, you're in the right place. Hit the subscribe button, join the community and get involved. Thank you for joining the Belgian GP qualifying watch along. First up, I'll give you a quick update on the sprint news as the drivers are heading towards the track. So, the sprint race winner, Max Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, second in the McLaren, followed by Lando Norris. Oscar has been outperforming Lando, actually, all weekend so far. Charles Leclerc, fourth in the Ferrari. Fifth was Esteban Ocon. Great result for Carlos Sainz in the Williams in sixth. Oliver Bearman got 2 points in seventh in the Haas. And Hadjar got the remaining point in the Racing Bulls in eighth. Best of the rest, well, Yuki did improve his performance in a Red Bull. He's finished 11th. So we have seen some improvement to Yuki. Lance Stroll finished higher than Alonso in 13th, 14th. The big news though, Lewis Hamilton could only manage 16th. He only qualified 18th for the sprint race after his spin in SQ1. He has had a torrid time in that Ferrari. FP1, dreadful. Could only manage 8th quickest. Said there's been no improvement to the car, even though they do have new rear suspension. Leclerc has been getting on with it better. He does feel there has been an improvement to the car. But Hamilton, not so much. He actually apparently sent a harshly worded email outlining everything that is wrong with that Ferrari and why those updates and upgrades haven't really been hitting the mark. But then he has in an interview immediately after the sprint race, he did say that there may be some hope for improvement by changing the settings, the variables of the upgrade. Maybe he went for different variables than Charles. So we'll see now, because we're going to see now. It's welcome to Q1 for the main race. It looks like, is that Hülkenberg having a wing change? Yeah, Nico Hülkenberg. Damaging his front wing. Oh, wow. The Aston Martin taking the edge of his front wing off before he's even got out in Q1. Oh, dear me. And Hülkenberg should be on fire right now because, you know, P19 for podium, P3 at Silverstone. Do you think he's going to have the juices flowing today? You know, you're going to think he is ready to bring out a career best because his qualifying this season has been atrocious. So, but his race performance, Nico, has done very well. So let's see if he can improve his qualifying performance today. But we are back, we are out on track now. Tell me your predictions in the chat. Who do you think is going to take P1? I also want to give a special mention actually to Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly, great qualifying position for the sprint race. He qualified 8th. And you got to remember, Gasly is the only driver to score points this season for Alpine, who are dead last in the championship. But yeah, qualified 8th, great performance. Problem with the car. So the sprint race just became a test race, really. He came out 2 laps into the race, did a few laps, didn't finish, but maybe they learned something. But his qualifying pace was decent. So maybe Gasly's, we might see an interesting Q1. I hope so. Because Gasly is the most underrated driver on the GP circuit. I'm sure you can agree. Well, you probably, I say I'm sure you would agree. I don't know if you do agree, but I do think Gasly is really matured as a driver, and I think he is maximizing the Alpine. It'd be great to see him in a quick car, wouldn't it? Be great to see him in a quick car. Okay. Sainz as well. We're watching him now on the telly. Putting in a quick lap, I think. He did brilliantly earlier in the sprint qualifying and the sprint race. He qualified 6th and he finished 6th, which is nice, picking up 3 points. He deserved them. He's been driving well yesterday. That Williams does seem to have some improvements to its performance. Or maybe it's just Sainz getting to grips with the car. I think he's going to be the first person to put in a lap in Q1. Gosh, I love this track. This track is one of the greatest F1 tracks. Really? Don't you think? Great performance actually from the Haas in the sprint. We had Esteban Ocon finish 5th. And Ollie Behrman also in the points, finishing 7th. That's 2 Haas drivers in the points in the sprint race. What do you think about Behrman's rookie season, actually? I'd like to know what you think in the comments. I think it's looking good. I do. I think for his first season in Formula One, he's showing some real promise. Okay, Ocon and Hülkenberg on a quick lap. Oh. Okay, Hülkenberg not completing the lap. Back in the pits. Track's getting busier now. Excuse me, I'll have a little drink. This is a different type of stream. This is where we all get to relax, enjoy the qualifying together, and get interactive in the chat window. So, you know, get involved. Also, what are your thoughts on Piastri and Lando Norris? I think, for me, Piastri has been consistently stronger than Lando. I think yesterday he took Lando to school. And today, again, the dominant McLaren driver. Piastri is my pick for P1 today. I'm sure some of you might think Norris may be able to improve his qualifying performance. The interesting thing is about Piastri and Norris is that McLaren brought a front suspension upgrade available to both drivers. Piastri chose to stay on his let's call it the original setup, where Norris has chosen to go with the upgraded front suspension. Now, that front suspension actually, according to McLaren, does not offer a performance advantage, but it does offer an alternative feel. Norris has decided to use that alternative suspension. Both cars are running a new floor, which was tested in FP1 in Silverstone. And for a team that is so far ahead of the rest of the pack, you know, bringing upgrades like new floors, alternative suspension, when they don't really need to be bringing, they're not in a desperate need for an upgrade like Ferrari. I think it's just, you know, for the rest of the pack, I think they're just going to increase their dominance at Spa. Unlike Ferrari, who have brought their big upgrade of a new rear suspension setup. Well, new rear suspension, not just setup, brand new rear suspension to actually improve the issues with ride height. They obviously got disqualified in China due to running the car too low. So then they've had to run the car higher than they'd want to, upset the balance of the car, terrible through high-speed corners. This new rear suspension was promised to be a game changer, and it has been awful. We've seen Lewis Hamilton have a dreadful sprint qualifying performance, sprint race. We've seen him lose the back end of the car. So Ferrari in desperate need of upgrades. And also, this is the point in the season where the final major upgrades will be given to the drivers. After that, we're all concentrating on the 2026 car. So they might be able to change some variables of the current setups, but not much. So this is it. Aston Martin, supposed to have brought a big upgrade this to Spa. Okay, so currently we've got Sainz sitting in P1. Lawson, P2. Albon, P3. Behrman, P4. Piastri coming onto the track in his out lap. We've got Leclerc on a fast lap right now. It'll be interesting to see if he can improve on Sainz's time. He does, by half a tenth. Charles Leclerc in P1, half a tenth quicker than Sainz, who again, just to mention his performance in the sprint race, fantastic, finished 6th. His qualifying in the sprint race was fantastic, qualified 6th, held his position. Scoring points, 3 vital points for Williams. Hamilton's gone 6th fastest, 3/10 slower than Leclerc. 7 minutes left of Q1. The danger zone at the moment, we've got Bortoletto. We've got Kimi, Antonelli. We've got Stroll, Russell, Colapinto. All in the danger zone right now. Norris on a quick lap. Everyone's on the soft tyres. Norris in the first sector, 2/10 behind Leclerc. Can Norris really improve his qualifying performance? Let me know what you think. See Gemma in the chat window asking about my man on the ground, Tubby George. What's his prediction? Well, I will tell you what Tubby's prediction is. It's not about P1, 2 and 3. Tubby got so excited about Hülkenberg's performance at the Silverstone Grand Prix. All Tubby said was, Hülkenberg will make it into Q2. That's his prediction, because Hülkenberg has not had a good season in qualifying. His qualifying performance has not been good, but he feels that Hülkenberg's going to have a spring in his step. And he might be right, because Hülkenberg currently in P12 in the Sauber. So that's Tubby George's prediction, Gemma. Norris, P1, 5 minutes left of Q1. Leclerc, P2. Sainz in P3. Lawson, P4. Albon, up there in the Williams in P5. Behrman, P6. Hamilton, back in the pits. Currently in P8. Piastri, gone second fastest. in Q1. That's definitely going to be two, Norris and Piastri, bank elapsed. They'll get them through to Q2. Hamilton's the one's looking in like he needs to improve. He's, you know, he is a long way behind Leclerc. Verstappen on his outlap. 4 minutes left of Q1, leaving him enough time to do at least 2 laps. Russell on his outlap. Stroll's on an outlap. Antonelli's on an outlap. Bortolito on an outlap. Lots of drivers still yet to put a time in. So, in the elimination zone right now, you got Colapinto. Russell's not put a time in. Stroll, Antonelli, and Bortoletto. So, where can Russell qualify today? That Mercedes is supposed to have some secret upgrades for Spa. They are aerodynamic upgrades, from what I've been told. Who are you rooting for today? Let me know in the comments. So watch out for Gasly. Actually, we may see a season best qualifying performance from Gasly today. I feel he's really found his groove with a very difficult car. But he is maximising every piece of potential out of that Alpine. Okay, Antonelli and Russell both on a quick lap. Two minutes left of Q1. Norris in P1. Piastri in P2, just 0.2 behind. Leclerc's coming out for another lap. Russell's gone fastest in Sector 1. Antonelli is close. Russell's lost, I think he lost a couple of tenths there in the middle sector. Stroll out to try, and he's on a quick lap actually. Antonelli only finished a lap, he's P11. Where's Russell gonna finish in Q1? Russell, P8. Well, I don't know if that's gonna be an indicator. Stroll is out of in P1. Sorry, in Q1. Lance Stroll out in Q1. Bortoletto's made it to P10. Hamilton in P11. So the elimination zone right now, we've got Yuki, Alonso, Ocon, Stroll, Colapinto. We know Stroll is out of time. He's out. Behrman, P5 in Q1. Well done, Ollie Behrman. Great result in Q1. Yuki's got himself in P11. Gasly. P15. And he's on a lap. Hamilton, P15. Gasly down to P16. Well, wow, Hamilton could be out in Q1 here. He's in P15, he's in danger. Gasly is on a lap. Gasly's improved, P11. I told you to watch out for him today. He's through to Q2. At the moment, Hulkenberg, P13. That was Tubby George's prediction to make it into Q2. Will he make it? Hamilton still on a lap. Oh, he's improved. Hamilton, P7. That means Bortoleto is in the elimination zone. He is out. Okay, Bortoleto in the elimination zone. Colapinto out. Kimi Antonelli out in Q1. Alonso and Stroll 19th and 20th. Wow. Okay, so let's have a look who is out in Q1. We have got Bortoleto out. We've got Colapinto out. We've got Lance Stroll out in Q1. And we've got the second Aston Martin driver, Fernando Alonso, two-time world champion, out in Q1. What do you think about that? Well, there you go. That was a very exciting Q1. I'm surprised about the Aston Martins, actually. They were supposed to be bringing a significant upgrade component. Their last big upgrade this season. 19th and 20th in qualifying. It's not good news for the Aston Martin family. Really not. Hamilton, though, he couldn't find, didn't he? P7 in the end. Managed to find a lap. I'm sure he's pleased because his performance so far this weekend and the car's performance has been dreadful. So managing to find a little bit of pace in Q1. So I don't know. I don't know whether they've done some tweaking to that rear suspension, that new rear suspension that Ferrari have rolled out for this race. Maybe they have. Since the spin yesterday and Lewis's feedback, maybe they have done some tweaking. I don't know. I'm looking forward to hearing what Lewis has to say about it after qualifying. Hamilton. Wow, Hamilton went over, exceeding track limits, finds himself in P16, which means Hamilton is out in Q1. Wow. His weekend is just getting worse. So that time we all saw Hamilton P7. That time has been deleted, which means his previous fast lap would put him at P16. He's out in Q1. Out. He took too much curb. All four wheels over the white line. Wow. It just gets worse for Hamilton. Yeah. They're just showing us the all four wheels over the white line. It really, yeah. Have to discount that lap time. It's that much of an advantage then. You know, because he managed to put that car in P7. Wow. What does this mean for Lewis's weekend? P16. And this is with the new upgrades. It's just a horrible, horrible situation for Hamilton at Ferrari. Horrible. This 2026 car, this Ferrari, really needs to be like night and day to this car. Hamilton needs to get his hands on that 2026 car and help them develop it with whatever development's left, so it feels like a car he can have confidence in. Because the one thing that's consistent about Hamilton and people that have worked with Hamilton is they all say that his feedback to the engineers is fantastic. His vocabulary, his knowledge, his experience. You know, he's finding limits of a car while other drivers are still working out, you know, still learning the track. Like, he is incredible at giving the correct feedback to engineers to help them deliver him the car he wants. He needs to get in to that 2026 car, because this season, this 2025 car, this is it. There will be no more upgrades this season. This rear suspension upgrade, which was promised to give him at least a 10th a lap, does not look like an advantage for Hamilton. However, Leclerc has said today that he feels there has been some improvement. Okay, Q2. There's your big news. Hamilton out in Q1. So who's left? Who's coming into Q2? And I'm very pleased to see Hülkenberg making it through to Q2. Also with Bortoleto coming through to Q2 as well. Because like I said, my man, Tubby George, that was his prediction. I said, who do you think is going to win or finish, or is going to finish on pole? And what he said was, I'm not going to tell you who's going to get pole. I will tell you though, Hülkenberg is going to make it through to Q2. And he was right. He's bringing some of that fire from his amazing result at Silverstone 2 weeks ago. Okay, let's see who we got. So we've got Norris, Piastri, Verstappen, Sainz. Sainz driving very well this weekend. Lawson, Albon, Russell, Yuki, Ocon, Hadjar, Leclerc, Gasly as well. Listen, Gasly, brilliant. Qualified 8th. For the sprint race. Unfortunately, could not get on the grid. Had to start from the pits. He just used it as a quick practice to get the setup right for the car for this race. I'm rooting for Gasly, you know. I do think he is a good driver. I would like to see him in a top team. I think it'd surprise a lot of people. Only driver to score points in the Alpine. Okay. All drivers out on the route lap. Getting the car set up, ready for a quick lap. Okay, Max on a hot lap. Also, Kimi Antonelli not making it through to Q2. When you hear all the talk at the moment over at Mercedes about potentially Max joining Mercedes, who would be the other driver with Max? Antonelli is, I would say, he's lost his groove a little bit over the last couple of races. But then you got Russell, who is consistently good. I do think he is maximising the performance out of that Mercedes. And like I said, I've said it in an earlier show last week about Russell. Really should be demanding to be a #1 driver in any team that he's in, and not settling to be a #2 driver, even if it is to Max Verstappen. Okay, Verstappen out on a hot lap. Ocon gone fastest in Sector 1. Verstappen fastest in Sector 2. My prediction today, I think Max is going to be P3. He's just gone into P1 in Q2. But I think Ocon, P2. Okay, Yuki in Q2. In P2, not often we see Yuki up in top 3 or 4 spots. But again, not everyone's put a time up yet. Let's see. So we've still got 9 minutes left of Q2. Okay, Piastri goes P1. Norris, P2. And Verstappen, P3. That is actually going to be my finishing prediction. I think it's going to be Piastri, Norris, Verstappen. I'd love to see Pierre Gasly get into Q3. Imagine getting the Alpine into Q3. That would be one hell of a result. He's been impressive with a subpar car. No team principal over at Alpine, don't forget. It's a team in turmoil. Renault, financial problems, trying to sell 20% of the team for 300 million. Okay, let's have a look. Russell P6, Yuki P5, Leclerc P4. I think the top 4 will probably stay like that. Ollie Behrman's been impressive. Just watch, he nearly had a very big off. He caught it. Ooh, yeah, he just managed to catch it. He went a bit wide over the curb. Back end kicked out. He did catch it. Well done, Ollie Behrman. Didn't set a time, though. Still yet to set a time in Q2, but there is time left. There's 7 minutes left. So, 7 minutes left to get a quick time. Let's look who's in the elimination zone right now. We've got Hulkenberg in P11, Bortolito in P12, Gasly P13, Sainz P14. I would like to see an improvement from Sainz, actually. Albon P7 at the moment in Q2. I'm really rooting for Sainz this weekend. I feel like he's found some form, and I do think he is getting the maximum out of this Williams car. We all know it's not good enough, and we do want to see it improve. But I do like Vols. I think as a team principal, he's a steady guy, steady head, brilliant brain. And I do feel he is improving that team season on season. But what do you think? Tell me in the chat window. So at the moment, when we look at the timings, the McLarens seem to have at least 2.5, 3 tenths on Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. Where can Max find that time? It was very clever what he did in the sprint race. He altered his wing setup to create less drag, with the sole purpose to get the run on Piastri. Got past him in lap 1 and then held that race to the end. Far more difficult on a 44 lap race than a 15 lap race, obviously. But will he be thinking about changing his setup for this last shot in Q2? 4.5 minutes left. Okay, cars coming out for the last hot laps of Q2. Just 4 minutes left. So my predictions, I think in the end of Q2, we're going to see Piastri at the top, P1, Norris P2, Max P3, and I think we're going to see Leclerc P4, which if he does manage the second row, by the end of qualifying, if Leclerc is on the second row of the grid, and Hamilton, who didn't even make it out of Q1, is starting 16th, I think questions are going to, the doubt in Hamilton's going to increase, right? Like, he's been saying this new upgrade has not had any benefit to the car. And if Leclerc puts the Ferrari on the second row of the grid, I think it's going to cause some sort of eternal dialogue over at Ferrari. You've got to remember, Hamilton was brought in to help Ferrari become a world champion manufacturer again. Got to beat your teammate. Have to beat your teammate. You know? Golden rule in F1. Beat your teammate. What can Gasly do? I want to see him get into Q3 in that Alpine. He has been driving the socks off it. I'm always rooting for the underdog. I don't know about you. I'm rooting for the guys who I can see have got talent, but they are using machinery which is just not good enough. I'm always rooting for Pierre Gasly. I do think he maximizes what the Alpine can do. I'm rooting for Carlos Sainz in the Williams. Like I said, you know, he qualified 6th for the sprint race. I want him to get into Q3. Okay, in the elimination zone right now, Hülkenberg, Bortoleto, Gasly, Sainz and Behrman. That's how it sits in the minute with 1 minute 33 left in Q2. So this is it. These are the laps that count. Who's going to get eliminated and who is going to go through to Q3? I'd love to see Hulkenberg make it to Q3 for the first time this season. Also, be interesting to see the competition between Lawson and Hadjar. Now Lawson's found his groove in the Racing Bulls car. Definitely narrowed the gap between him and Hadjar. Interesting fight, that one. Okay, Gasly's on a hot lap. Hadjar's on a lap. Hulkenberg's on a lap. Let's see. So Gasly needs to go quicker than Lawson to squeeze into Q3. That's where it sits at the moment. Hulkenberg. Gasly's put it in P9. Hadjar puts it in P6. He was already ahead of Gasly, so Gasly's still in P9. Hulkenberg could only manage P11. That means Hulkenberg is eliminated in Q2. Hulkenberg out in Q2. Norris finishes P2. Sainz on a lap. Gasly, the man at risk. Lawson's pushed Gasly out of the top 10. Sainz couldn't manage it. Sainz P14. Sainz is out in Q2. Okay, Piastri, Norris, Verstappen, Russell P6. Albon P10. Can Ocon do it? No, Ocon out. Behrman out. Both the Haas's out of Q2. So yeah, Ocon out. Behrman out in Q2. So here's what's interesting. We've got a Q3 with Yuki, Lawson, Hadjar, all making it through. Yuki is, honestly, I'm delighted for him. Under immense amount of pressure. 99% sure he's lost that Red Bull seat next year. If Max stays, it's going to be Hadjar in that number 2 seat. Racing Bulls, Lawson will keep his seat. And Arvid Lindblad will be coming in that second seat. So what happens to Yuki? Where does he go? So he's got a shop window now. The next half of the season, he really needs to put himself in the window for other teams that might want his services in 2026. His relationship with Honda is a good one. But Honda are only going to be supplying Aston Martin with their power plant next season. They have an exclusive arrangement. And Aston Martin are not going to replace Lance Stroll or Fernando Alonso next season. They're not. So that relationship Yuki has with Honda is not going to be very helpful. So he needs to keep performing this season. Getting exciting though. Coming into Q3. You know my predictions. I think it's going to be Piastri, Norris, Verstappen, Leclerc, top 4. You know, if Yuki can put that in P6, maybe, that would be a remarkable improvement for Yuki. It's a real statement. But then it would beg the question, why have you been shocking for the first 12 races? We know the car was bad. I mean, but they have had an upgrade. They have brought upgrades. But Yuki yesterday said that all the upgrades have been put on Max's car and not on his car. I'm sure Yuki will be running the same upgrades as Max today in qualifying. I believe it's a new wing, some aero bits, but improving the stability of the car. So, Bortoleto, P9 in Q2. It's an achievement. It's not going to do him any harm to get through to Q3 above his teammate. And that is the golden rule in Formula One. You have to beat your teammate. You have to beat your teammate. Simple as that. And for Bortoleto to put himself in the window like that into Q3, congratulations. Hulkenberg, I think, finished P11. But we're about to find out what is going to happen in Q3. This is it. This is the business end. The business end of qualifying. Let me know your predictions in the chat window. Say hello. Put in an emoji. Send me a wave. If you want to shout out, get in the chat window and I'll shout you out. The top 10 shootout. I love the way that Formula One's evolved over the years. They rebrand, the way they change qualifying, rebrand it, trying to make it more exciting, but it was always exciting. Except back in the 90s, when you used to watch qualifying, there'd be an hour of dead air, people just like me, like I'm doing right now, talking, filling the time, cars all sat in the pits, and it would always be, all the qualifying would happen in the last 3 minutes. It made it very exciting, all cars out on the track at the same time. Yeah, it was very exciting in those days. So that when they did change qualifying to Q1, Q2, and then Q3 and the shootout, it has made the qualifying better for the fan. 100%. Do you think George Russell can improve? And also, what do you think about Kimi Antonelli? Out. in Q3. Hamilton out in Q3. Piastri taken to the track. 11 minutes of Q3 left. Let's go. Business end. Let's see who's going to put in a world-class performance. Like I say, I think Piastri has been on fire. I think Piastri's going to take pole. I think Norris will take P2. And I think Max will be P3. P4, Leclerc, Russell. I mean, Yuki up there. If Yuki puts that car in P6, I think he would deserve driver of the day, because his improvement from where he was to now is huge, and the pressure he's under, and he knows his future is limited or even done for over at the Red Bull team. So, you know, he's got to put himself in the shop window. Yuki has got to put himself in the shop window if he wants to turn it around. But remember, we've got to talk about as well, you know, new Red Bull boss, right? Laurent Mekies is over there. Yuki's worked with Mekies over at the sister team. He knows him very, very well. And I did wonder whether Mekies were going to do some voodoo with Yuki this weekend. And look at it. It looks like he just might have done that. Could be down to Mekies. It really could. He's the only differentiating factor apart from the new front wing. That relationship could be helping Yuki put in a performance. Okay, just 9 minutes left of Q3. Verstappen out on a hot lap. Piastri just starting his hot lap. Let's see. This is the business end of qualifying. You know what Max is like? He saves the best till last. Always. Let's see what he can do. Q3. Is he going to put in a blistering lap? Norris also on a fast lap. Max putting in the quickest second sector of the day. He's come around to complete his lap. 2 corners. Across the line. 141 for Max. Piastri, P4. Oh no, he hasn't finished his lap. Yeah, come on. No, he is going to go. He is going to go faster. Norris has put in fastest second sector. Here we go. It's Piastri's time. He has. Of course, he's on pole. He is 3/10 faster than Max. He's been 3/10 faster than Max all day. Norris puts it in P1. He's gone faster than Piastri by by 2/10. Seven minutes left though. Leclerc nearly 8/10 behind Norris. Russell nearly a full second behind Norris. Yuki currently 1.5 seconds off the pace. So we've got Bortolito's down in 10th. This is it. Business end. Okay, so hey Anthony, nice to see you in the chat window. Thanks for getting involved. We love that. It's a great question. So you think Bottas is going to be in the Alpine seat? Now, I can understand why you think that, because they are going to be running the Mercedes power plants next season. Is that nailed on? Has it been confirmed publicly? Because I would have loved to have seen him in a caddy. Get Bottas in a Cadillac, especially with his mullet. He looks like he should be driving a caddy. But seriously, if it's Sergio, I think you're going to see, if they can't get the American driver Colton up to 40 super license points by the end of the season, I think he's going to need to finish 3rd or 4th in the IndyCar Championship to get the required amount of points. If they can't do that, I think you're going to see Mick Schumacher in that 2nd seat. That's what I think. I think it's going to be Mick Schumacher. It won't be Max though, because Max doesn't care about money. He just cares about the fastest car. And I think as much as I'm so excited about Caddy joining the driver lineup and the manufacturer lineup next year, to think that they're going to have a car that will compete at the top in their first season is a stretch. They will be running the Ferrari power plant, which is a good thing. But I just don't think they're going to be a top 3 team in their first season. I would love to be wrong on that though. But yeah, that's what I think, Anthony. That's what I think. But let me know what you think about what I think in the comments. Okay, just 4 minutes left. Norris currently in P1. All coming out of the pits now for their last shot at a qualifying position. So Anthony is asking about, because Max is leaving Red Bull. Well, Max, if he leaves Red Bull, he'll be leaving to go to Mercedes. Mercedes will pay, if they have to pay compensation to Red Bull, they'll pay it, even if it's 100 million. But Red Bull, if they show a marked improvement, he will stay at Red Bull and honour his contract. But Max just wants to be in the quickest car. And all this talk of him moving could be a technique just to apply the maximum amount of pressure to Red Bull and the new team boss. And the thing that's interesting about the Red Bull team, actually, is a lot of people in the Red Bull team who are so loyal to Christian Horner that are saying they're going to leave the Red Bull team. So there could be skill shortages within that Red Bull team, and that team could fall into disarray. And here's the really interesting thing. Horner, my man on the ground, Tubby George, is telling me that Horner, and I've done a video on this, Horner, Bernie Eccleston, and Flavio Briatore were saying that Alpine will sell 20% of their team for £300 million. Horner wants to be a team principal, but he wants to be an owner, a part owner of a team. That's the thing that got him so annoyed at Red Bull. He never got equity in the team, even after all of that, all of the success. And Horner is a winner. So Horner goes to Alpine as a team owner and team principal, takes some of his best team from Red Bull. We could see a lot of problems in the RB team next season. There is so much going on within the teams in F1 right now going into the 2026 season. It is going to be like an episode of, it's going to be like a TV show. It's going to be like Drive to Survive. All sorts could be going on. Very, very interesting. So yeah, I don't think we'll see Max in a caddy. I think if he goes anywhere, we'll see him in a Mercedes. I think most likely the lineup will be Perez and Bottas. If Bottas goes to Alpine, it's more likely to be Perez and Mick Schumacher, purely because Colton cannot get his super license because he's only got 32 points. Unless he gets another 8 points towards his super license this season by his finishing position in the Indy Championship, what they'll do is they'll probably line him up for the 2027 season, doing those FP1 runs to help get his points up, try and help him get his super license points by the end of next season. That's what I think. But thank you, great comments, love that. Great comments, great chat. And oh, I see, yeah, Caddy are going to try and develop their own power plant, but I don't think it'll be before 2030. If I'm honest, that would be very, very quick. 2028. Good question. Can Cadillac get Kimi? Kimi Antonelli is in an interesting position because he is managed by Toto Wolff and he's a Mercedes driver. So here's what I think. If Max goes to Mercedes, I'm going to come back to that. Norris, is Piastri going quicker? Leclerc, currently P3. Ahead of Verstappen. Russell's on a hot lap. Piastri's on a hot lap. Second, Norris in P1. Piastri in P2. Leclerc P3. Verstappen P4. Russell puts it in P5. Hadjar P6. Will Yuki improve? Can Verstappen improve? Lawson P7. Yuki puts it in P6. Well done, Yuki. So, Lando Norris, P1. I didn't think Lando would put it on P1. I honestly thought Piastri would be on P1. Great result. McLaren, P1, P2. P3 for Leclerc. Wow. Unfortunately, what does that mean for Hamilton? That is an embarrassing situation for Hamilton. Out in Q3. Could not get to grips with the car. Terrible FP1. Terrible sprint qualifying. Terrible sprint race. Wow. Hamilton is going to be... He's going to be in some conversations right now with the Ferrari team. Hamilton down, I think, in P16. Leclerc puts him on P3. Wow. Okay. Lando Norris takes pole. And going back to Anthony's question, about Cadillac getting Kimi. This is what I think will happen. If Mercedes get Max Verstappen, I think George should find his balls and say, well, I'm not going to be second fiddle to Max Verstappen. I should be number one driver in a team. So that would leave the opportunity for George not driving for Mercedes. His contract has not been sorted out for 2026. He'll then move, imagine a straight swap. Maybe he moves to Red Bull. Then Kimi would be in that number 2 seat at Mercedes. George would move to a competitive team because George is a very good driver and he is maximizing the performance of the Mercedes. So I don't think Kimi would end up in a Cadillac. I don't. Antonelli would be at Mercedes. And I don't think George would join Cadillac either. I think George would probably, or possibly, be #1 driver at Red Bull as a swap. It will be fascinating, I'll tell you that. It's going to be a fascinating 2026. But we've still got a long way to go. We've got half a season left here. For 2025, we've got Lando Norris taking pole for the Belgian GP at Spa. Piastri in P2. But the big news for me is Leclerc has put that Ferrari on P3 ahead of Max Verstappen. Thank you for joining me for the qualifying. It's been a great watch along. I will be back for the race watch along tomorrow. I think it starts at 2 o'clock. I will see you all then. Please join me. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you all tomorrow.